looking for Group Operations Lead, here today with Dana Hustedt from Grandview University.
Hi, thanks for having me, Monica.
You're so welcome. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about your program, and I have the first question on the page here is, how did your program get started?
Sure. Well, Grandview University established our esports program back in August of 2017. Was a pretty early program considering varsity esports really started in 2014. So we're not really too far behind the 8 ball. We were one of the first 15 in the nation to begin. We started with just under 10 players and only had one game title of League of Legends that first year. We have exponentially grown now into 2020 with 47 students and play 7 different game titles.
Awesome. So what are the 7 games that you offer, if you can remember off the top of your head?
Sure. We provide 3 teams of League of Legends, Varsity, Academy, and JV. We also host an Overwatch team, a Rocket League team, Fortnite, Valorant, Super Smash Bros. And then we also carry a few various sport titles, FIFA, NBA 2K, and I'm missing one. This is so bad. I'm trying to think, but along the sports titles games.
Excellent. And I did hear that you had 3 different sections there. You said varsity, junior varsity, and academic. Can you tell me about those? Academy. Okay. Yeah. Can you tell me about the difference?
So with League of Legends, we're very saturated in League of Legends players here at Grandview. That was obviously our first title, so we just have a reputation for that. What we do is we actually have a varsity team who is typically Grandmaster Challenger level players. And then we also carry an academy team, which is probably in that Masters and Grandmasters range, but they are a good contention team to the varsity team, right? To make that good competition, potentially be able to sell them in and out, all that kind of thing. And then we also have a JV team where we want to be able to accept players who are lower level that can continue to grow, but are not up to that level of the varsity academy levels because, there's just that skill gap, and we're trying to just develop those players as a whole.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So yeah. On the competitive side of the program, what kinds of tournaments are you, allowing these students to sign up for, and on the casual side as well? How are you engaging both of those communities of students? Because I'm sure they're very, very different in terms of how they interact and what their goals are and what they're looking for. So how do you satisfy the needs of them both simultaneously?
Yeah, well, it's very interesting. So Grandview participates in so many different leagues, seasons, competitions. That can range from the actual varsity season that is published by the game publisher of that specific game title, right? So we have League of Legends, who has the CLOL season that happens in the spring. You have the Overwatch season, you have the Rocket League season. So all of these titles have different varsity seasons, but the rest of the year, we are playing in other leagues that are provided by third-party operators. That could be CSL, CRL, PlayVS, Upsurge League. You can be competing in open and amateur tournaments, even other additional collegiate tournaments. So it's very exciting because we have this wide variety of events that we can be putting our students in based on skill level, right? But then also, what is the time demand of that too? We have to be conscious of those things. How much time and effort and quality and quantity can we put into a team? But it's very cool that we're starting to see with the COVID pandemic, as weird as this sounds, all of the online seasons that have been established out of this more than prior. So we're actually able to give our students more possibility to participate than we were ever to before.
Yeah, I feel like COVID in a lot of ways really stimulated this community in a big way. So I guess in darkness, there does come light. The video game developers have been right all along.
Absolutely. You are so right.
That is awesome. So the facility that your students can play in, I'm sure the COVID-19 guidelines have changed things, but could you tell me a little bit about what your school has to offer in terms of the machines, the peripherals, any partnerships that you'd like to mention? What is the dynamic of your space?
Great. Well, our space is actually, I want to say, very exciting compared to probably a lot of starting out schools. We renovated an entire residential floor of our residential hall here on campus, 1,800 square foot. We have 36 Omen by HP stations, gaming desks, gaming chairs. We have a variety of DX Racer, Respawn, personalized desks as well. And then HyperX is our official peripherals gaming sponsor at Grandview University. So every setup here has a headset, keyboard, mouse, and mouse pad, all HyperX affiliated. And we are very, very proud to have welcomed that just established here this past August. And our students are absolutely loving it. We also offer an area for VOD review, or maybe like your game film review, with couches, a projector. And then we recently just added a Red Bull machine with a new partnership with them. So that's been kind of exciting for the students, and then just various other local community partnerships that we have.
It definitely sounds really unique there. I like the space with the VOD review. That sounds really interesting. Get everybody huddled around all comfy to go over your plays. I like that quite a lot. That is excellent.
Exactly.
So I'm going to switch gears on the questions a little bit here. One that's not on the list that I've been finding really interesting to talk about. Does Grandview offer scholarship right now for esports players?
We do. We were the first program in Iowa to offer scholarships. Our scholarships range from $1,000 all the way up to $28,000 to full tuition. So we are very proud of that. Whereas some schools, they can offer the full rides, but that's on a very rare basis in college. So we try to be as competitive as possible, and it's proven its worth. And we're very, very excited to continue to bring in some of those players. And again, for people who are watching this and skill levels of all ranges, right? Even if you're not the top skill, does not mean that a school will not offer you a scholarship. Some schools will offer scholarships based on your grade level and participation. Maybe if you have to meet a rank requirement, maybe it's a varsity position or a JV position have varying levels, right, of scholarship. So don't discount yourself from getting a scholarship if you think you're not good enough. You also do not have to be a player in order to receive a scholarship at Grandview, as well as several other institutions that I know of. You can be a support staff. You could be a player manager. You could be production, graphics, social media coordinator, maybe just a fitness instructor for the esports team. There's all of these really cool ways to be incorporated into esports that parents as well as younger kids don't know exist. And so that's our job in the collegiate space to, educate you on, and as well to not discourage you that even if don't want to play the game, you can still find a place in an esports community.
That is awesome. I'm very glad to hear of another university doing that. I had an interview earlier where they shared the same thing, and I didn't know that was a thing. I'm really impressed to hear about that because of all the different soft skills and hard skills you can develop upon, in esports without even playing the games. Like every other industry, needs an advertiser, a PR person, a finance guy, whatever it is, So it's really awesome that you guys have recognized the value in that.
Thank you.
So when it comes to your scholarships, how do you determine who receives what level? Is it based up? What are the criteria? I guess it depends on what the student's getting into. But what would you categorize as the main pieces of criteria when it comes to that scholarship?
Sure. Well, several private institutions function a little bit differently in the scholarship realm, especially with esports. So this is actually a topic that I speak on a lot. Because scholarship structures will vary, obviously, at every institution, depending on if it's a set budget dollars, is it an institutional average, money that's added onto an academic scholarship, but you need to stay within an average, right? Some function on that. Some also establish a scholarship based on the year of school you're in, as well as the rank of game. Typically at Grandview University, we function on that average system. So what that means is we also take into consideration the academics that the student is bringing in. And then we add esports dollars on top of that, and we have to try to stay within a specific average system. Now, that doesn't mean that I can go above that average, right? If you can justify it, meaning if I have players of just excessive high skill quality rank as a player and academics, they're worth the investment, right? We can go up to that 28,000, or we can go, whatever that may be. We look for, obviously, the higher ranked players, a certain criteria for each level of game. I won't go through that, but you can find that on our website about what rank you need to hit in order to be considered for a specific team at Grandview. So with a League of Legends, for example, our highest scholarships are players who are master and above, grandmaster and above, who are actually being in that varsity position. If you're a JV player, it's kind of obvious that you won't have as high of a scholarship, but you still may get a scholarship.
It's awesome that you're providing opportunity across the board. I think that's mostly the most important thing. So that is excellent.
We do too. We don't want anybody to think that they can't come to Grandview if they're not a high-end player, right? We want to provide an experience across all levels. We do have a minimum, because sometimes you get people who want to just be a leisure player, and there's schools that have really great programs to be clubs, right? But for us at Grandview, we're in that competitive realm, and we haven't quite gotten the resources or staffing to have a club. But we do still encourage those people to participate in events. If they want to come to Grandview, they can, but they need to meet a minimum threshold for us.
That makes sense. Awesome. So switching gears back to the general side of things, the last two questions I have here for you are geared towards a student who is looking right now for their perfect fit. Can you tell me something unique about Grandview's program that might sway them in your direction? And also one piece of advice that you would want them to know generally or for Grandview when it comes to applying for that Collegiate Esports program?
Sure. Well, I think something unique about our program is that, one, what's exciting is we were the first program in Iowa to have an esports program, as well as the first in Iowa to have scholarships. So if you are a local state kid, that's awesome. We would love to have you. So with your parents, they can watch your games. They can come in person to events a lot easier. But again, it's nice because esports is online, so we don't have to worry too much about the travel. But also having our program is esports access only to our facility. So you know that you get a dedicated space to you, your passions, and your skills. We have a very personalized approach here at Grandview. Every person who comes into our program is handpicked by me and the staff, because we want to make sure that you are the best fit for our program culture as well as the university culture. And making sure that you succeed in your degree as well. I don't care if you're a player who just likes our program to play. I am looking to make sure that you're set to go on the academic side as well, and as well as in your career path. So if we're not the right fit, I'm very transparent with all of the recruits that come to us. So I think that's probably a few of the cool things about us, as well as for the females listening, it's kind of a cool experience that this is I am the first female director of a collegiate program in the United States. And we've had, several females come to Grandview based on that. So for the females, I just want you to know that you always have a home here. Sometimes they don't feel like it's as scary sometimes if they see a female sitting at the table, right? And they know that they can be welcomed and comfortable, because guess what? All of the males in this program have been directed by a female. So their respect level and responsibility and all of those things are just quality people who are coming through here, and you know that you can have a good experience. So I want them to know that.
That is definitely something that is very unique about your program, without a doubt. And I hope to see that, fingers crossed, across the board. I see more and more women in gaming seminars and experiences, but there could always be more. And I'm so happy to see a success story of that. And it's so hard, as a female, getting other females comfortable in this gaming sphere, because it does sometimes feel like a boys' club. And trying to get past that and recognizing that everybody behind the computer screen is there for the same reason. And I have a lot to say about this, clearly, but that could be for another interview.
That's so cool.
But this was really enlightening. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk more about Grandview's program. Were there any other points that you wanted to bring up that you wanted prospective students to know before we disconnect?
I think one of the things to educate incoming students or prospects or just parents in general, the question we see a lot is, what are we interested in that prospective student, right? So not just Grandview, but a lot of us colleges are looking for individuals who, one, are focused on their academics and earning the degree, but also individuals who can communicate inside and outside of the game. We like to see if you've participated on any team before. It doesn't matter if it's sports, show choir, debate club, whatever that is, but having some sort of experience interacting with others, the interpersonal communications. And then I think the biggest one for us is positive mental attitude, as well as can you take feedback and criticism. We see a lot of students come to college and they don't quite know how to handle the adversity. And that's the one thing we really try to focus on in our interview process with prospective students. So keeping all of those things kind of in mind of how you develop as a person and player are very key to collegiate administrations.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. I think, making sure that you have the right character for your program overall is really important, because you could, and this is mentioned in another interview, you could have the best player for your League of Legends team, but they could have a really crappy attitude, and it can make or break the dynamic and the social environment of your entire program. So I think that's something really important to look out for. Yeah.
Awesome. That is so true. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I hope this was good for everyone. And if there's ever any questions, you can find us on all of our social medias of Grandview Esports. Email me or find our school website.
Awesome. Thank you again so much, Jane.